So this episode was effectively set up for the assassination against Koro-sensei. This is the first time, I think, in Assassination Classroom that it took an entire episode for the characters to set up an assassination. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what type of plan they're going to have when it comes to this assassination, because judging by the way this episode was done and how the entire episode was pretty much fucking build up for next week's episode, and judging by the scale of how everybody was traveling around through the entire island, setting different things up with sniper spots, learning the geographic, nature of the island, there was a lot of prepping for this assassination. And like I said, this is the first time I think in Assassination Classroom we have seen our entire crew, our entire students of E-Class working together for this one assassination. And so I'm very curious to see what is really going to happen, because really, I have no idea. I mean, the plan is very big on a grand scale from what we can see, because it's going in the forest, it's going near the beach, it's going into that little hut where Koro-sensei was at the end of this episode. I mean, there's a lot of different areas that this assassination is taking place. So I'm curious, like, what's going to happen? As we know, Koro-sensei has to give up a lot of his tentacles, like a shit ton of his tentacles, and as we know, it decreases his speed when he loses tentacles. So the question is, I'm guessing they're going to take those tentacles off. Koro-sensei's probably going to try to run, and, since he's surrounded by water and he has to stay on the island, you're probably going to have it to where he's going to run into the forest, and then most likely they're going to try to shoot him down, since his speed won't be as fast. But here's the thing what I found very interesting about this episode. Along with the setup of E-Class setting up for this assassination, you also have it to where Koro-sensei accidentally uses his molted ability, where he sheds his skin like a snake. He kind of gets rid of that ability in this episode, and what that does to us as a viewer of the series is let us know that Koro-sensei is going to either A, he's going to fucking die here, which I highly doubt, or B, he's going to have to use something very new, like something new he hasn't shown. As we found out multiple episodes ago, Koro-sensei has like some form of antimatter, like antimatter type shit. And if you can use something like that, like I said, it's very possible to destroy the moon after you think about it. But now seeing how Koro-sensei has shed his skin, he doesn't have this backup plan. And with his speed being pretty much almost next to nothing, being very low after he removes all those tentacles, you gotta wonder, like, what's gonna happen? Like, he's gonna have to use something new. Because we know for a fact Koro-sensei hasn't used everything. It's very, very, very fucking obvious Koro-sensei hasn't unveiled all his tricks. There's probably a lot more tricks he's hiding that he has yet to show us. So I can't wait to see that. Overall, though, when it came to this episode of Assassination Classroom, it was just setup. That's what it was. It's being straight up honest, this episode was setup, and depending on how you feel about setup episodes, you're either A, you're going to like this episode, or B, you're going to hate this episode. But personally, I love setup episodes, especially the way this episode was done, just showing how much thought put into this assassination. And judging by what Vich-sensei said in this episode is, since the plan is so massive at scale and so big and it seems to be very good, usually plans like this tend to go wrong. And that might be foreshadowing that Koro-sensei is going to be using something very soon, like he's going to be using his antimatter or something else. We'll have to see. Overall, though, episode, fucking good. Fucking loved it. So, yeah, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about this week's episode of Assassination Classroom? How'd you feel about that animation? That animation is pretty freaking good, too. I have to say so. That animation was pretty damn good. Episode, very fucking good. Enjoyed it from start to finish. Cannot wait for next week to see where all this setup is going to lead into. So tell me your thoughts. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.